In this lesson, you'll learn how to use the right visuals in Power BI and why it directly impacts how users understand your data. We'll cover when to use charts like bar, line, pie, and tables so you can communicate insights clearly and avoid confusing dashboards. Let's dive in.
Okay, welcome back. I hope everyone is back. Okay. I will keep referencing to this final dashboard as we build one for ourselves. We are going to start from here. Okay. We're going to start from here and let's build our first visual, which is this one. This is your donut chart. Very similar to pie chart, basically. So let's build our donut chart first. I go back and I think I should also provide you some quick introduction on some visual types and when to use a specific visual. Let's talk about some of the common ones and in what scenario should you use what visual. I hope you get some clarity on it. So this top line, what do we call them? These are your column and bar charts. Very similar, basically, in terms of the data that it displays. Why do we use them? Comparison of values. If you want to compare one product sales with another product sales, if you want to compare one client with another client, if you want to compare this year with last year. So comparison of values is why we would use them. Okay, and then there are different types of these visuals. If you will hover over them, you can also read it. So see this, when you hover over it, it also gives you the name 100% stack bar chart. So it converts it to a percentage. Clustered column. But when you will use it, they are very similar in nature. It shows you, so if I have to give you a quick example, click on it. I put my, you don't have to do it, profit, and then I can do it for product, right? Comparison of values. Compares one product with another product. What about this one? Line chart. And this is ideal for what? Trends, right? Or change over time. Any change over time. So whatever your KPIs, are we moving up, down, side, change over time? And what you will also notice that these charts on the right, let's say this one is an area chart. This is also a kind of area chart. This is also ideal for the same behavior, which is trends and change over time. But people are very familiar with the line chart. They understand how to read it. So use a simple chart when in doubt. If you come from an Excel background, this is your combo chart. They call it like column and line stack chart or something in Power BI, but that's your combo chart. It allows you to show two variables. So maybe you have a profit margin along with profit, right? To have a very different scales. Profit margin would be less than one, right? Let's say 20%, which is zero point 0.2, but your profit might be like 2 million. So you have two very different scales. If you want to compare them, that's your combo chart. Or another ideal use of combo chart is when you want to track an actual versus a plan. So you have a plan as a line, let's say your target or a budget, and then you have your actuals mapped with it. Another popular chart is this one, the one that we are just going to create. One is your donut and the other one is your pie. Why do we use it? What's a good use case of combo and pie? Anyone?
Visualizing fractions of a whole.
Yeah, pie and donut. So basically, you percentage. Another way to say it is like proportions. In a whole, what percentage is for Australia? What percentage is for Germany? It allows you to see proportions. A lot of people don't like to use pie chart. Now, there are few rules that you should keep in your mind when you're using a pie chart because this can be a really bad option to use. If you do not have significant differences between the proportions, don't use it. If you have things like, let's say, 30% and 35% and 25%, so there's not significant differences between the proportions, don't use it. It becomes very difficult to see. Use a use a column chart instead. But if you have significant differences that you want to show, like 10% and 50%, and then like the differences should be substantial. Otherwise, it becomes difficult to see. And do not use it if you have too many pies. Let's say if you have more than 3 to 4 Pies, like slices of a pie, don't use it. So I'll give you an example. If you have like 20 countries or 10 countries, it becomes very difficult to read, becomes too noisy very quickly. That's the problem with a pie chart. So to summarize, few slices with substantial delta between the slices, right? Few slices with substantial delta is really good choice. If you look here, right, this one, we call it tree map. And as I'm doing, you can also hover over a map too. You can see it will give you the name. It's called a tree map. Very similar to pie, very similar to your donut, but it just gives you a box instead of a circle. Okay. Then if we move down, we have these are your maps, all three. If you want to plot something on a map, very self-explanatory what they would do. Maps. And all three maps have different variations to what you can do in one and what you can do in other, but effectively plots information on the map. You have to be connected to the internet. In some organizations, they also disable them too, because some organizations with very strict controls, like health, they will disconnect because they don't want their data to interact with these Bing maps. Just keep in mind if this does not work in your organization. Then this one is an excellent one. Very simple visual, just gives you aggregated value, total revenue, total profit, your big important KPIs in your face. That's really the purpose, like really big numbers to pay attention to. That's your aggregated numbers. Then you have this visual. What do we call this? Matrix.
Major.
Matrix. All of you who come from an Excel background, this is basically your pivot table, exactly like your pivot table. It just comes with some more options and functionalities, but this behaves exactly like your pivot table. And someone like Nathan, I would believe, all he would be doing would be creating a pivot table, because that's how we roll in Excel. All we do is create a pivot table. Pivot table is an excellent choice to summarize the data, but for an end user consumer, it might be very difficult to understand the trends and the patterns. If I have total revenue by the product as a pivot table, although I can have a sense of what product is the top performing and the least, but you don't understand the significant differences between the revenue. Our mind is much quicker with a visual than it is with numbers. Our mind interprets information a lot more quickly with a visual than it does with numbers. So pivot table is an excellent choice when you want to see numbers like as it is, you want to understand a little more detail about the data. Another excellent choice if you want to drill down. Who understands this terminology? Drill down. If you have hierarchical values, you have, let's say, category, subcategory, and product. You have state, suburb, postcode, and longitude, latitude. If you have hierarchical data and you want to go from one level of hierarchy to another level to another level so it's an excellent choice. Drill down. Then we have this one, slicer. This is also one of the most important uh, object that you can have on the screen. This is the only way your consumer can engage with the report. Otherwise, they cannot change a visual, they cannot add a visual. That's how your consumer engages with the report. So understanding, you know, how do you simplify your slicers, how to not put too many slicers, and if you are putting the slicers, how you can use some of the options to make it easier to use is very important, because that's the only way a user engages with your report. And then, yeah, so these are some of the important visuals that we are also going to use today. You can see some other ones, as you can see at the bottom. See this one? That's your Power Automate. If this is not relevant for you, don't worry about it. That's part of your Power Platform. So once you have a Power Automate app, once you have a Power Apps, you can call these applications within Power BI itself and use them within Power BI. That's your ArcGIS maps. They have also started to roll out some more, um, like advanced filter and advanced cards. You can see. I have not explored too much of them, so this is happening on some of the latest versions of Power BI. If you don't see it, don't worry. So they did not exist before. These are, that's your R if you know how to build a visual in R and Python, you can actually create these visuals within Power BI. Very rarely have I seen anyone use R and Python, to be honest. Very rarely. Because even if you can create something, it will not be interactive. Your R visuals will not interact with your native Power BI visuals, right? So cross it. Very rarely have I seen people use paginated reports, right? Very rarely. Even like this bottom line, this bottom two line, I have seen them use very rarely, to be honest. Although they are useful, I don't want to say they're not useful, but rare uses. Okay, so too much marking.